Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And lately I've been doing reviews on Saturday morning cartoons because it's a lost art today. But today, I am going to continue the Saturday morning theme, but I'm going to be doing one of the first, if not the first, not the first, it's like one of the first early live action shows that aired on Saturday morning. Because, and I'm going to be discussing the show that I like watching, and I have recently found episodes of this show on YouTube. So you can check it out on YouTube, and it's the show The Secrets of Isis, starring Joanna Cameron, and it ran for I think 2 years or 2.5 years on CBS from 1976 I believe to about 1978, and it ran for another couple of extra years in reruns on CBS Saturday mornings. Like I said at the top, this is very rare that, especially at that time in the 70s, when you had a live action television show on Saturday mornings. The only other shows I remember that was live action that on Saturday mornings at that particular point in time were Jason the Star Command, Shazam, which is actually the mothership for ISIS, because ISIS was actually the sister show for Shazam, and they did have a couple of crossover episodes with Shazam and ISIS. And then, of course, they didn't have another one to about roughly 10 or 11 years later, when NBC first aired Saved by the Bell. So that's how long a time span it was. Then you have, Shazam, ISIS, and the Star Command shows, and then nothing to 1989 in terms of a live action show on Saturday mornings until Saved by the Bell debuted on NBC in 1989. But like I said, or The Secrets of Isis, starred Joanna Cameron, who at that time was also a model, and you can tell because you can tell how gorgeous she was. I mean, to this day, even though I was a little kid then, I used to watch the show because of how hot Joanna Cameron was. And also around the time that the show aired, or was still airing on CBS, Joanna Cameron appeared on the famous or infamous episode of the live action Amazing Spider-Man television show, which aired 13 episodes over a 3-year span from 1977 to 79. The reason why I call it an infamous episode was called The Deadly Dust. So you can find that episode on YouTube as well. Towards the end of that episode, was like a 2-hour episode, and at the end of it, she got captured by the villain of that particular episode, and he made her wear a bikini. So you can see Joanna Cameron in a bikini, and you're like, damn, what a body she had. I mean seriously, I don't know about now. By that time, I went, holy crap, and that's what I used to watch ISIS for. Was really for her, because it was a good show. For those who don't know the premise of the show, ISIS, Joanna Cameron plays a science teacher who one time went on an archaeological dig in Egypt and happened to find a medallion that belonged to the Egyptian god Isis. And she found out that she did some more research and digging into her background. She found that she was actually an heir or a descendant of the Egyptian god Isis. I don't know how she did that. It was in the intro for each episode. She found out that she was a descendant of the Egyptian god Isis, and she inherited this medallion. And if she wears the medallion out, around her neck, and she would take it out of her blouse. She wears it around her neck, and she says these words, "Oh my Isis." She turns into the god Isis. So that's in the screen here, and she turns into the Egyptian god Isis. And throughout the series, she'll say like these little rhymes or cast like a little spell or something, and it will make her fly, or uh, give her strength or speed or whatever power she wanted to use. She have say something, think around, and would give her the strength or the power to help whoever was in trouble. Now this show was a half hour series, um, or each episode was a half hour, I should say, and each episode will end with a lesson. And that the one in trouble learns the lesson not to do whatever it is they were doing that got them in trouble to begin with. So you can say that it is aimed towards kids. It's very each episode pretty much has a simple premise with some kid, some student, or who that Joanna Cameron's character would get in trouble and doing something that they morally shouldn't be doing, and each episode ends with a moral lesson, which is also almost the same premise as its companion show Shazam, Captain Marvel. It was based on the Captain Marvel character. It's also pretty much the same premise as well. I also like the Captain Marvel show as well because I used to watch it all the time, every week when it was on. And as a matter of fact, the very first time I went trick or treating, my sister was dressed up as Isis. So I have a little bit more of a nostalgia feeling with Isis because my sister was dressed up as Isis and I was dressed up as Spider-Man. Can never find a Captain Marvel costume the same my grandmother. So that's why I was never dressed up as Captain Marvel because I never could find a costume or a Captain Marvel costume. But I still remember my sister was dressed up as Isis and I was dressed up as Spider-Man one particular for Halloween for trick or treating. So that's why I still remember the character and the television show. But like I said, it's still a nostalgic brings up a lot of nostalgia for me. And I do give positive reviews of this show, even though today's kids, when they see that show, they say, "Oh, I can't believe this show was popular back in the day. I can't believe," or they say in the past, "Mom, Dad, I can't believe you watched this show. This show's a piece of crap." Maybe to them it's a piece of crap, but for us, it was, like I said, playing a couple times a day. It's a piece of nostalgia, and it is a good show for its time. And I don't know if the show was on DVD today, but I do know that some of the episodes, I don't know if all of them are on there, but a good chunk of them are on YouTube. And I, just having some on, I wonder if some episodes are on YouTube, and I've seen them, and I say, hey, these shows are pretty good. And to me, it's still entertaining, even though today it could be it's lame. But like I said, I haven't seen these shows in almost 40 years, or at least 35 years. At the time of doing this video, it's been like 35 years since I've seen these shows. I haven't even seen these shows in reruns on cable. I'm talking about Shazam and Isis. But who knows? Maybe we'll do a quick review of Shazam as well. But Shazam, like I said, is the companion show to Isis, and that show started like a year earlier. And then when Isis came on the air, like a year later, in 1976, they did some crossover shows because it's from the same production company. Shazam is, of course, based on Captain Marvel, the DC Comics character. And notice how crazy I thought. I thought Captain Marvel was a Marvel Comics character because the name Marvel was in it. But Captain Marvel was born into DC Comics years before Marvel Comics was Marvel Comics. And I forgot who was it was like two different actors that played the part of Captain Marvel. You had one character that played Billy Batson, and you had another character that played Captain Marvel. So you had two different actors. Unlike in Isis, where Joanna Cameron played both parts. Like I said with Isis, Shazam also started with some kids in trouble. And Billy Batson's in like this motorhome with this old guy, and his name was just Mentor. No other names, just Mentor. Hey, Mentor, That's it. That's all this guy's name was. And he was there to give advice and to help out Captain Marvel driving for his motorhome. Which I thought was cool, that he was driving his motorhome across the country, which was kind of weird and crazy, and a 1970s, and a typical 70s plot device, to be traveling around across the country in a motorhome. And then the following got like this crazy little contraption, open, but the kind of lights on. And every time when the old Greek gods and Roman gods, one of them will flash, give him a signal. And Billy Batson says, "Oh God, oh my mortals, who what do you want to talk about?" That type of a speech. And you see like this called crappy animated cartoon characters of the Egyptian gods that make that start the name Shazam. Like each letter is one of these Greek gods, and they tell them what to look for. And they say, okay. And then eventually, within like within a couple of minutes, you see what the episode is. And so, oh, this is what the gods were talking about. And they help out whoever kid is in trouble. Just like the show Ice, or the Secrets of Isis show was. This is it. I mean, both shows have almost pretty much the same premise. One of them had Captain Marvel, or a live action Captain Marvel, and the other one had Isis in it. But the only difference, one was a guy, Captain Marvel, more of an established character, and then you had Isis. But let me tell you how popular the Isis show was. They even made a comic book character for Isis. And one of the time the television show was, because before then they didn't have a comic book character or a comic book series for Isis, just the television show. When the show was popular, they made a comic book series for her. Captain Marvel didn't have to do that because they already had a comic book character or a comic book series for Captain Marvel, and you also had a cartoon series as well that aired a couple of years later on NBC. But you had a cartoon series before that as well for Captain Marvel or Shazam. But for Shazam, I thought it was also a very good show. Also, each show also ends with a moral lesson. But like I said, both shows are, to me, the most entertaining. I used to see shows or episodes of Shazam on YouTube. Unfortunately, the only thing I see is maybe like little clips and the opening title sequence for Shazam. That's it now. But Isis, like I said earlier, Isis, I saw the some episodes on YouTube. So check it out. If you haven't seen the show, or if you want to show your kids what it was television like back in the 70s, I suggest or recommend to put on Isis for them and you see what television was like back then. So that's my review of The Secrets of Isis and Shazam. So I combined both of them in one video. Please click on the video, please read it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please watch my other videos as well. Because it still disappointing that some of them haven't even gotten 5 to 10 views on, and one of my videos has over 300 views, so pretty big distortion there with how many views I got. Thanks for watching this video. Catch you next time.